After my rebirth, I finally stopped clinging to the current Grand Tutor, Liunin. He disliked my constant chatter, deeming it unbecoming of a princess. So I fell silent before him, still as a wooden puppet. He accused me of clinging to him, tarnishing his lifelong reputation and dragging such a noble figure into scandalous rumors. So I asked my father the emperor to assign me a new tutor. He also claimed my actions caused the woman he truly loved to misunderstand him and grow distant. So I avoided any hint of impropriety and publicly declared I had long ceased to care for him. Finally, he declared that as a princess, I was spoiled and selfish, devoid of any sense of duty or compassion for the suffering of the people. Thus, I volunteered to marry into the enemy kingdom, securing decades of peace between our nations. Every choice I made in this life was the opposite of my past life. For in my previous existence, my relentless pursuit finally succeeded in persuading my father to arrange a marriage between me and Liunin. Yet mere days after our wedding, his beloved fifth princess took her own life. Liunin showed no emotion upon hearing the news. Instead, he grew affectionate toward me. Then, on the day I went into labor, he bribed the midwife. He watched coldly as I struggled for a day and night in childbirth, only to die in agony, taking both my life and the unborn child with me. Given another chance, my sole desire was to survive. Later, I was sent to a neighboring kingdom as a peace offering. Returning with the new emperor of that realm to visit my family, our marital affection drew envy from all who witnessed it. Yet Liunin blocked our carriage, his voice hoarse as he spoke. Princess, I regret it. Main text, Your Highness, the Grand Tutor says you cannot enter. The gatekeeper's voice rang in my ears. I faltered for a moment, then felt overwhelming joy. Today, Grand Tutor Liunin hosted a flower viewing gathering at his residence. Many high-ranking officials and nobles attended, yet I alone was barred from entry. But at this moment, I felt no shame whatsoever. Instead, I was elated, for I had been reborn. Everyone believed I was unworthy of Liunin. He had become Grand Tutor at a young age, possessing not only striking looks but also admirable talent. I, however, was merely a princess born to a common attendant. My birth mother had long passed away, leaving me in a position neither high nor low within the palace, even lower than the head matron serving the favored concubine. Because of a drunken promise made by the emperor, who mistakenly referred to the fifth princess as the third, Liunin became my tutor, teaching me my daily lessons. Everyone could see that Liunin was quite displeased with this arrangement, yet he dared not defy the emperor's will. Therefore, he could only take his frustration out on me. Regarding this, the emperor turned a blind eye. He could never admit he was wrong. After all, I was merely an unloved princess. A little hardship wouldn't hurt. Take today, for instance. This flower-viewing banquet invited all the imperial princes and princesses, yet I alone was barred from entering. In my past life, I waited outside for a long time until the moon rose above the willow tips, before returning to the palace in a daze. The moment I got back, I fell gravely ill and nearly died. A political rival seized upon this incident, lodging a complaint against Liunin. This led to him being severely reprimanded by the emperor, who then used this as justification to arrange our marriage, a warning shot fired at him. Unexpectedly, mere days after our wedding, the fifth princess drank poisoned wine and took her own life. Upon hearing the news, Liunin merely gave a half-hearted before resuming our wedding night. After the wedding, he treated me exceptionally well, leaving me both flattered and bewildered, convinced I had finally won his heart. But on the day I gave birth, Liunin bribed the midwife to cause me to suffer a difficult labor. I struggled in agony for a full day and night before finally passing away. He stood by the window, watching my contorted features with a cold, icy gaze. If it weren't for you, how could you have been driven to such despair that she took her own life? Go down and apologize to her. Yet after my death, the fifth Princess Yu returned. She hadn't died at all. She'd taken a fake death potion to escape the palace, evading a political marriage to a neighboring kingdom. Liunin, who always claimed to be impartial, went to great lengths to cover for her. He framed her escape as an attempt to kill me, claiming she'd narrowly escaped death. In the end, I was the only one who died. Thankfully, heaven saw fit to grant me a second chance. This time, I will live well and keep my distance from Liunin. Amidst the crowd's malicious stares and mocking glances, I turned and left, boarding my carriage back to the palace. Returning to my quarters, I poured myself a cup of tea and exhaled deeply. For these past 3 years, my feelings for Li Yunin were known to all. Even without imperial favor, I remained a princess. Yet I willingly washed dishes and cooked for Li Yunin, personally baking his favorite pastries. When he mentioned admiring the calligraphy and paintings of the master Huang Qi, I spared no effort to track down his works. I even made 3 visits to the owner's residence, pleading until I finally secured an authentic piece as his birthday gift. Once, when he disagreed with the emperor on state affairs, the emperor, in a fit of rage, sentenced him to 20 lashes. Kneeling beside him, I pleaded desperately and took the punishment upon myself, leaving me bloodied and bruised. Li Yunin once mentioned his fondness for the peach grove south of the city. When the peach blossoms bloomed, I joyfully invited him to visit. He agreed, yet on the day of departure, he brought along the 5th princess, Qin Yu. Hand in hand, they walked together, utterly carefree. Meanwhile, I was nearly killed by a venomous insect after Li Yunin demanded I pluck a peach blossom branch for him. Recalling these events, I feel as if I'd lost my mind, recklessly clinging to Li Yunin despite the danger. Now, my sole desire is to live. The first thing I must do is distance myself from Li Yunin. The next day, I didn't seek out Li Yunin, yet he came to me, cornering me in the imperial garden. Qin Sheng, did you petition His Majesty to release me from my duties as your tutor? For the first time, he didn't address me as princess according to protocol, a clear sign of his fury. I was somewhat bewildered and replied directly, "What's the matter? Haven't you always disliked teaching me?" It all started with Father Emperor's drunken slip of the tongue. Now we're merely correcting that mistake. Li Yunin's breathing grew ragged. He stared at me intently, then suddenly sneered coldly after a long moment, "Princess, are you trying to manipulate me this way? Playing hard to get? As a princess of our dynasty, you care not a whit for the state or its people, yet spend your days learning the filthy tricks of the harem. Truly, you're beyond redemption." My heart had long grown numb. Hearing this, I felt no sorrow, only calmly retorted, "When I asked you to be my teacher, you claimed I was pestering you. Now that I no longer want you as my teacher, you say I'm playing hard to get. Li Yunin, Grand Tutor Li, what exactly must I do to satisfy you?" Just then, Qin Yu approached, her voice sweet and soft. "Third sister, you can't blame Yunin entirely. You've done so many ridiculous things to cling to him before. It's only natural he'd have doubts now." Li Yunin, who had begun to waver under my questioning, turned to look at me with an even colder gaze upon hearing this. Watching this unfold, my heart felt bitter. Ever since 3 years ago, when Qin Yu, the princess lost to the world, was found by Father Emperor among the common folk and brought back, Li Yunin's attention had gradually been drawn entirely to her. To win back his attention, I cried that I'd never speak to him again and deliberately ignored him for half a month. But during the royal hunt that followed, my horse suddenly bolted for no reason, charging straight toward Qin Yu. She was so terrified she fell gravely ill. No matter how I explained it, no one believed me. From that day on, Li Yunin's coldness toward me turned to outright disgust. He found even glancing at me irritating. The other noble ladies in the capital who were close to Qin Yu, along with the imperial brothers, all joined in ostracizing and isolating me. I sighed softly, looking at Li Yunin and said, "I was wrong before. I shouldn't have clung to you. From now on, I won't do it again. I wasn't playing hard to get. I genuinely wanted to set things right and return you to 5th sister." Yet Li Yunin's eyes brimmed with mockery and distrust. He didn't believe I'd truly stopped pursuing him. Qin Yu stepped forward, grabbing my hand in a seemingly affectionate gesture. "Yunin, trust your elder sister. I can see she's genuinely remorseful. Sister, my birthday banquet is in a few days. Why not join the festivities? After all, hardly anyone in the capital is willing to speak with you now." I refused flatly, expressionless. "I'd rather not spoil your fun." Qin Yu persisted, clutching my hand. "Sister, please come celebrate with me. I'm really looking forward to seeing you." Before she could finish, she suddenly staggered several steps to the side and tumbled headlong into the pond. It looked as though someone had shoved her violently. Li Yunin reacted swiftly, grabbing her arm just in time to prevent disaster. Qin Yu leaned weakly against his chest, her eyes wide with shock as she stared at me. Sister, why would you do this? I was only inviting you out of kindness. Before I could respond, Li Yunin roared, Qin Xing. How could you be so cruel? Yu is your own sister. With that, he struck me hard across the face. My cheek instantly swelled high. You always spoke so highly of you to me. But now I see you're nothing but a heartless vixen beyond redemption. If you ever use those despicable tricks from the inner quarters on Yu again, even if you're a princess, I won't let you off. The blow knocked me to the ground. Listening to the roaring voice beside my ear, I felt dazed. After a long moment, I murmured, I'll stay out of your way from now on. Rest assured, I'll never appear before you again. Li Yunin replied coldly, that would be best. With that, he supported Qin Yu, and the two walked away arm in arm, looking like a perfectly matched pair. I touched my swollen cheek and gave a bitter smile. Memories I had long buried suddenly surfaced. Back then, Li Yunin had actually been very kind to me. I was only 12 years old at the time. Because my mother, the Empress, had passed away early, I was bullied by the palace maids. It was Li Yunin who happened to pass by, sternly reprimanded those palace maids, and reported my situation to the emperor. That's how I came to the emperor's attention, and from then on, I was able to eat my fill and stay warm. From that day on, I regarded him as my benefactor and constantly followed him about. He, in turn, treated me with great tenderness, often bringing me delicacies and trinkets from outside the palace to cheer me up. I returned to my quarters with a swollen, reddened face, yet no one dared to ask about it along the way. Those palace maids and eunuchs were adept at reading the room, afraid to offend Li Yunin or Qin Yu, so they all pretended not to see. For days afterward, I hid away in my quarters. When the date arrived, the day the envoy from the neighboring kingdom had come to propose a marriage alliance in my previous life, I finally made my way to the emperor's study. After paying my respects to the emperor and empress, my first words were, Your Imperial Majesty, I wish to go as a peace bride. Hearing this, my father paused, startled. But the one you are to marry is the new emperor of that neighboring realm, a man who once served as a hostage in our court. He must harbor resentment toward our people. Your life there will likely be no easy one. I replied calmly, Father, as a princess of this dynasty, it is my duty to sacrifice for the sake of our nation and the world. If my life can bring peace between our two realms, I offer it willingly. His Majesty's gaze grew complex, then he smiled. Truly worthy of being my daughter. Very well, I shall bestow upon you the title of Princess of Eternal Peace. You shall marry in splendor and honor. Emerging from the imperial study, I collided head-on with Li Yunin. His first words upon seeing me were, Your Highness, the third princess, where have you been these past days? I replied coolly, Didn't I already tell you I'd avoid you and never appear before you again? Li Yunin sneered coldly, When have your words ever come true? Don't forget how relentlessly you pursued me before. If you truly reformed, you should have gone far away, far to the edge of the sky. I stared at him. After a moment, I spoke slowly, Fine. I agree. The next day, Father Emperor announced before the entire court that I was to be named Princess Yongnan and married to the new emperor of a neighboring kingdom as a peace offering. The convoy departed that very day, a grand procession rolling out the city gates toward the distant capital of the neighboring realm. Seated in the jolting carriage, I had barely traveled a short distance when faint shouts seemed to reach me from behind. A guard outside the carriage called out, Princess, it seems Grand Tutor has caught up. Shall we stop? Li Yunin? Why would he chase after us? Was it to warn me to behave myself from now on? I frowned slightly and said in a calm voice, No stopping. Keep going. He's just an insignificant person. Yet the next instant, the carriage jolted as Li Yunin yanked open the curtain, his gaze fixed on me with a look that seemed to grind his teeth. Insignificant? Qin Xing, you've forgotten how you used to chase after me. He reached out to grab my wrist, but I ducked back inside the carriage, my voice icy. Minister Li, please restrain yourself. I am now a princess bound for a marriage alliance with a neighboring kingdom. Such behavior is utterly improper. Li Yunin gritted his teeth. The emperor said you volunteered for this alliance. Who forced you to do it? I replied calmly, "Didn't Grand Tutor Li tell me to get as far away as possible, to vanish to the ends of the earth? Now I truly have vanished, beyond the borders of Qin. You should be pleased." Li Yunin met my icy gaze, momentarily speechless under my glare. He suddenly realized I truly intended to leave him, to flee far away, never to meet again in this lifetime. Yet he refused to accept this truth, even more unwilling to admit I no longer cared for him. After a moment, he spat out furiously, "You will return with me immediately. I will plead with His Majesty to send another for the marriage alliance. You just want to play this game of feigning disinterest, don't you? State affairs are no child's play. You." Before he could finish, I could no longer bear it and raised my hand to slap him. "Enough! Li Yunin, is this all you can think about? Let me tell you this, even if I chased after you when I was young, I stopped liking you long ago. As the Grand Tutor of this dynasty, have you ever considered the people of both nations? All this talk of romantic entanglements, you've truly disappointed this princess. If you remember your position, get back to being the Grand Tutor immediately. Serve the state diligently instead of causing friction between our countries with this nonsense. Li Yunin, you always lectured me about rules and national duty. How laughable that I only now see you for what you truly are, a hypocritical, self-serving villain." I didn't hold back my voice. Shouting these words out felt like a weight lifted from my body and soul. In my past life, I endured so much injustice from him and Qin Yu, endless unjust accusations and humiliations I dared not speak of. Now, at last, I've returned the favor. They only know how to pick at my flaws, pointing out this imperfection and that shortcoming. But are they flawless saints themselves? The force of that slap was no light blow. Half of Li Yunin's face swelled up, his hair disheveled, leaving him looking utterly wretched. He stared at me in disbelief, his lips parting but no sound emerging. I lifted my head to the guard standing beside the carriage. The wind was strong outside, so he wore a mask, but his posture alone conveyed an air of dependable strength. "Please pull him away. We can't delay the journey." The guard complied, reaching out to pull Li Yunin away. But he clung desperately to the carriage door, his eyes bloodshot as he stared at me. His gaze held anger, hatred, and a hint of some other, indefinable emotion. I didn't look at him again, instead saying matter-of-factly, "Among the eligible princesses of Qin now, besides me, there's only the 5th Princess Qin Yu, who was recently recovered. If I don't go for the marriage alliance, this duty will inevitably fall upon her." The moment the words left my mouth, Li Yunin completely lost his strength. The guards forcibly dragged him away and unceremoniously shoved him to the roadside. The carriage gradually receded into the distance, leaving him behind. I felt nothing but irony. I'd wondered what he intended by chasing after me, only to fall silent the moment he heard Qin Yu might be sent as a peace offering. He clearly loved Qin Yu, yet now he was pursuing me. What was he thinking? Never mind. None of this concerns me anymore. Let him do as he pleases. The journey was tedious beyond measure. Neither the soldiers nor the maids accompanying the entourage dared speak to me. Only the guard stationed outside kept me company, chatting to pass the time. His voice felt strangely familiar, though I couldn't place where I'd heard it before. So I asked, "Sir, have we met before?" The guard chuckled. "Your Highness flatters me. How could a lowly servant like me have met you?" Doubts lingered in my mind, but seeing he didn't wish to elaborate, I dropped the subject. After over half a month of travel, exhaustion overwhelmed me. I couldn't help but ask, "How much longer until we reach the capital of Yu?" The guard outside replied, "2 more hours, Your Highness." Relieved, I lay down on the carriage's soft couch to rest. After an unknown interval, the carriage jolted to a halt. Dazed, I sat up just as the curtain was lifted and a hand reached inside. The guard's voice sounded beside my ear, "Princess, we have arrived." Hesitating, I grasped his wrist and stepped down. Outside, the ground was already covered with kneeling people, their shouts deafening, "Welcome Your Majesty back to the palace." Your Majesty? I froze. Was this the new emperor who had ascended the throne not long ago? Why hadn't I seen him? I'd heard the new emperor was unpredictable and tyrannical, his harem still empty because no one dared send their daughters to their deaths. As a princess arriving now, who knew how long I'd survive? I only hoped he wouldn't take out the humiliation he suffered as a hostage and cheat on me, granting me a few more years of life. As these thoughts swirled, I scanned the area for the new emperor's figure, only to find myself standing alone with my guard. How dare this guard not kneel? I stared at him, and he stared back. After a long moment, he suddenly smiled. The guard removed his face mask, revealing a face so strikingly handsome it bordered on otherworldly. He gazed at me with a warm smile. That face was unmistakable. I recognized him instantly, my shock overwhelming me. Xiao Qingzi? I blurted out. At those words, the kneeling crowd trembled visibly, as if I'd committed some heinous crime, fearing retribution would fall upon them. Yet Xiao Qingzi, standing before me, merely smiled. He waved for everyone to withdraw, then led me back to the palace. As a child, I was unloved in the palace, living no better than a palace maid. Anyone could trample me. Xiao Qingzi, however, was a young eunuch I knew well. We had spent years together, weathering many difficult times. But when I turned 12, Xiao Qingzi vanished without a trace. I searched for him endlessly, convinced he was dead, and grieved for a long time. I wasn't foolish enough to provoke divine wrath. I immediately realized, you're the hostage sent by Yu to our court? Yu Qing looked quite pleased, showing none of the cruelty rumored about him. He said, yes, it was me. Back then, to avoid your hostility, I concealed my identity. Xing, I heard you came here for the marriage alliance of your own accord. I'm glad. I thought the only person you ever loved was Li Yunin. I couldn't help but fall silent. In my past life, Li Yunin truly was the only one I loved. Everyone knew I chased after him day and night, practically his #1 fanboy. Perhaps Yu Qing knew this precisely why he hadn't proposed the marriage alliance. After all, even if he had, I would have likely resisted fiercely, threatening suicide, or turned against him after being forcibly sent here. I couldn't help asking, what if I hadn't volunteered for this marriage alliance? Yu Qing was removing the intricate hairpins from my head when he paused at my words, then smiled as if nothing had happened. For two nations to coexist peacefully, they must form alliances through marriage. It's been this way since ancient times, there's no avoiding it. But if it weren't you, then anyone would do. Xing, if you truly love Li Yunin, I'd gladly grant you your wish. Even if another princess came, I'd treat her well and never harm her. I shook my head. I stopped loving Li Yunin long ago. He's nothing but a beast who can't tell right from wrong. Hearing this, Yu Qing seemed pleased. His eyes crinkled, yet he said, is that so? If you still harbor feelings for him, I could. I quickly covered his mouth, scolding, what's wrong with you? Are you determined to make this princess find someone else? Since I chose this marriage alliance for the peace between our nations, I won't regret it. Li Yunin and I have long since severed all ties. Yet he seemed unsatisfied, his tone oddly insistent, is it truly only for the peace between our nations? I froze for a moment before grasping his meaning, shaking my head hastily. No, Qing. Had I known the new Emperor of Yu was you, I would have sought this union even more eagerly. Only then did Yu Qing look satisfied, gently clasping my hand. Xing, I'm sorry for making you wait so long. Back then, I was too young to have a choice. When I returned home, I didn't even have time to say goodbye to you. I understood. I understood everything. Back then, he was just like me, a guest in someone else's home, with no control over his own life or death. When he left, he might have been thrown onto a carriage without warning. How could he have come to say goodbye? I had expected you to be a place of hardship and turmoil, but instead, it brought me a long-awaited reunion with an old friend, a bright turn of events. Half a month later, you held the coronation ceremony for the Empress, and I became Yu Qing's consort. The Emperor and Empress were deeply devoted after their marriage, treating each other with utmost respect. Rumors of the new Emperor's tyranny and cruelty were thus dispelled. So it was that those high officials and nobles began scheming once more, seeking to send their daughters into the imperial harem to vie for favor and share in the spoils. But before I could say anything, Yu Qing objected. Before the entire court, he flung the memorial urging him to expand the harem to the ground and sneered coldly, my heart holds only the Empress. If you wish to send your daughters to the palace, be it so, I shall kill each one. Moreover, I find none of these women pleasing. If you truly wish to control the harem, why not send your sons instead?" At these words, the ministers fell utterly silent. Yu Qing was no longer the hostage constrained by others. Now, with Yu's centralized authority firmly in his grasp, holding the power of life and death, no one dared oppose him. And those ministers would never send their sons into the harem. In their eyes, sons were meant to inherit their family businesses. How could they possibly become the emperor's consorts? The matter was thus dropped. Back in the palace, I helped Yu Qing remove his outer robe and teased him, "If someone really got the idea to send an unloved illegitimate son in here to be your consort, I'd like to see how you'd handle it." Yu Qing pinched my cheek, unconcerned. "If they were sent in, I'd have them castrated and kept as a little eunuch by the empress's side." I laughed. Wouldn't that make him my male favorite? Yu Qing didn't grow angry. Instead, he leaned against me. "That wouldn't do. The empress has enough with just one male favorite, mine." Since arriving in Yu Qing had spoiled me beyond measure. Unlike Li Yunin, he seemed eager to present every precious thing before me. Even in this new life, I wouldn't lose myself to arrogance born of favor. Instead, I grew ever more grateful, and our bond deepened. Another year passed. For my father's 50th birthday, Yu Qing personally escorted me back to Qin to attend the celebratory banquet. This year saw frequent exchanges between our two nations. The people lived in peace and prosperity grew, lifting my father's spirits considerably. A smile never left his face. Li Yunin, however, sat in the back rows. Throughout the banquet, he kept staring at me. I couldn't ignore him, but bound by protocol and my status, I had to pretend not to notice. He seemed in poor form, looking haggard, with a hint of madness in his eyes. Most crucially, the fifth princess, Qin Yu, was nowhere near him. What was going on? Doubt gnawed at me. Could something have happened to Qin Yu? But I had married into Yu long ago, had ceased all entanglement with Li Yunin, and had never meddled in their affairs. Surely this couldn't be blamed on me? Outside, the cold was biting. Charcoal braziers warmed the banquet hall, but afterward, I felt suffocated. I suggested taking a walk in the imperial gardens to breathe some fresh air. Yu Qing had been detained by the emperor for discussions. He clearly wanted to accompany me but couldn't break free, repeatedly urging me to be cautious. Returning after a year, the familiar scenery stirred many emotions within me. I instructed my maid to wait outside and wandered alone. Just as I was about to continue walking, someone suddenly blocked my path. Li Yunin's eyes were slightly reddened as he stared straight at me. "Xing, I finally see you again." I replied coolly, "Grand Tutor Li, please mind your manners. You must address me as the Empress." His face paled at my words. After a long moment, he forced a bitter smile. "Xing, ever since you left for the marriage alliance, I've thought of you day and night, reliving our past. How did we end up like this?" His sheer audacity stunned me. I took a step back, my voice cold. "Grand Tutor Li, that question should be directed at yourself. Haven't you already married the fifth princess?" To my surprise, Li Yunin's eyes flickered with disgust. "Don't mention that vile woman. I know everything now. Back at the royal hunting grounds, it was she who had someone drug your horse. That's why it charged toward her, it was all her doing. And she's no princess at all. She murdered the real fifth princess, stole her token and identity. All these years, she's been nothing but a poisonous woman usurping another's place." I was stunned. Living in Yu, I wasn't well informed about Qin affairs, and such royal secrets naturally wouldn't be shared outside the court. So Qin Yu wasn't the fifth princess at all, the real one was dead. No wonder she was so eager to hook up with Li Yunin, probably trying to find herself a powerful backer. Li Yunin continued, his majesty was furious upon learning of this affair. But since spreading it would tarnish the royal family's reputation, I've had Qin Yu declared deceased due to illness. Died of illness. I froze again. The implications of these words were crystal clear. After marrying Qin Yu, Li Yunin discovered her identity was a fraud, everything was a lie. Acting on his father's orders, he had Qin Yu killed and then announced she had died of illness. Just like in my past life, making a woman disappear quietly through illness was all too simple. In that instant, my fate in the previous life struck me as utterly ridiculous, a colossal farce. So this was the true nature of their so-called love. Without my interference, they never would have been together. Then what had I been fighting for in that past life? Was it my own foolishness, falling for a beast in human skin? From start to finish, it was never my fault. Even without me, Yu would still have died at Liunen's hands. This man is utterly terrifying. In my past life, he killed me for Yu. In this life, he killed Yu. And now he has the audacity to come asking me to reconcile? Liunen didn't notice the rage burning in my eyes. He seized my wrist urgently and pleaded, Xingxing, it's all that bitch Yu's fault. If not for her, I wouldn't have misunderstood you or treated you so badly. Now she's dead, I poisoned her myself. She bullied you so much before, consider this my revenge for you. Xingxing, I regret it. I shouldn't have sent you on that marriage alliance. Will you come back? Only now do I realize you're the one I truly love. Have you forgotten? That year, I rescued you from the palace maids. After that, you regarded me as your savior, followed me everywhere, begged me to be your teacher, all to stay by my side every moment. Xingxing, you loved me most of all, didn't you? I struggled fiercely, but his strength overwhelmed mine. All I could do was shout angrily, Grand Tutorly, control yourself. I am the Empress of Yu. Liunen, however, seemed to have lost his mind. His eyes bloodshot, he stared at me, Xingxing, I truly am going mad. Every single moment of this past year, I've thought of you. Only now do I realize, without you, my life holds no meaning at all. I was foolish. Only after losing you did I learn to cherish you. Come back. Let's leave the palace together and live as free as wild geese, okay? I know you love me. You love me so much, how could you possibly be content being the queen of you? I snapped, Liunen, I'll say it again, I stopped loving you long ago. Now, I only feel disgust for you. You always accused me of being short-sighted, of caring nothing for the nation or its people. Do you realize what your actions will cause? If conflict erupts between our kingdoms, it will be the common folk who suffer. But Liunen only laughed. He gripped my wrist tightly, his voice hoarse, so what? As long as you're by my side, that's all that matters. I refused to believe it. How could you not love me anymore? You once loved me so deeply you'd die for me. No matter how I cursed or humiliated you, you'd always come crawling back. You can't do this, Xingxin. You can't. You're supposed to love me forever, see only me. How could you not love me? My heart turned to ice. So he knew all along that he'd been humiliating me. Enough. Calm down. People change. The only one I love now is Yu Qing. Liunen, you're not even worth a single finger of his. What gives you the right to rage here? Liunen tried to speak again, but suddenly got kicked hard. Caught off guard, he flew several meters away. Yu Qing took my hand, rolled up my sleeve, and gently rubbed my sore wrist, his voice tinged with amusement. I never knew I was so good in the Empress's eyes. Though he spoke lightly, the look he shot Liunen was colder than the snowstorm outside, more icy than the garden's frost. I retorted irritably, really? Compared to a vile little man like Liunen, anyone would look like a proper gentleman. Yu Qing merely smiled. He stepped forward and without hesitation, beat Liunen soundly. Liunen was, after all, a scholar. How could he possibly be his match? Soon he was beaten to a pitiful state, looking like a street vagrant. Even then, he kept staring at me, muttering, I don't believe it, I don't believe it. How could you possibly despise me? You clearly loved. Yu Qing impatiently cut him off. Grand Tutor Li is truly audacious, daring to flirt with the Emperor's Empress. Does he think his life is too long? My Empress was merely young and naive before. I gave her a taste of sweetness, and she clung to it like a lifeline. Did you truly believe yourself irresistible? Now that I am by her side, how could she still have eyes for a worthless man like you? The Empress is correct, you are not even worth a single finger of mine. And yet you dared to compete with me for her? After speaking, he still felt unsatisfied. He raised his leg and stomped viciously on Li Yuanen's face twice. He ground the man's face directly into the slushy mud left by melting snow, treating him like trash. Only then did Li Yunen realize, I am no longer that unloved princess he could bully at will. I am now the empress, cherished and held in the palm of his hand. The former third princess, no one cared about her grievances. She was merely a pawn in political games, a puppet for others to abuse. Even her death would stir no waves. But now, Qin Xing was the Empress of Yu. Even the emperor of this dynasty had to treat her with respect, dare not show her the slightest disrespect. With Yu Qing by my side, I was no longer the timid figure of the past. My voice was calm as I said, Grand Tutor, this is likely the last time I shall address you thus. For soon, you will no longer wear these robes. With that, Yu Qing and I walked away hand in hand, leaving him slumped in his seat. Even as he walked away, Yu Qing couldn't resist trying to curry favor. He held out his hand to me, pouting, Your Majesty, look, I even scraped my finger fighting that scoundrel. I shot him a reproachful glance, took out a handkerchief to gently wipe his wound, then said, If that's the case, you shouldn't have resorted to violence in the first place. How can the ruler of a nation behave like a street thug? What kind of example is that? This time, Yu Qing genuinely looked hurt. Could it be that Your Majesty still cares for that Li fellow? I shot him a withering look. What I mean is, next time, have the guards handle it. A group beating or a one-on-one fight either works. Why get your hands dirty yourself? Now, even if it's just a tiny scrape, it's still me who feels the pain. Only then did he seem satisfied, beaming as he took my hand and led me away. The next day, Yu Qing lodged a formal complaint with His Majesty, accusing Grand Tutor of attempting to insult the Empress of Yu in the imperial garden and demanding severe punishment. His Majesty had long grown weary of Li Yunen and was seeking an excuse to deal with him. He immediately ordered Li's family assets confiscated, his exile, and a lifetime ban from holding office. As Yu Qing and I boarded our carriage for the return journey, we passed a convoy of exiles. Through the carriage window, I saw Li Yunen pass by. The once illustrious Grand Tutor now appeared utterly wretched, staggering forward as soldiers whipped his back. He lifted his head, seemingly recognizing me, and suddenly became agitated, only to be kicked violently to the ground, cowering in a ball. I withdrew my gaze indifferently and nestled into Yu Qing's embrace. Looks like we'll be riding this carriage for quite a while yet. Yu Qing toyed with my fingers and suggested, If you find the journey tedious, Xing, perhaps we could stop and explore some scenic spots along the way? I smiled. Sounds good. The story ends here. Thank you all for your companionship. See you in the next chapter.